joy, and the music kicked butt like nothing today. Then the world went insane, but that's when Shirley came and gave me joy in that same old way. Surely there's a time machine, surely we won't cross the streams, surely this can't be the best there is. Surely you're my rocket queen, got my back against the wrecking machine. Surely you can't be serious.
Hello and welcome to the Surely You Can't Be Serious podcast. I am not Dee Graves or Jason Colvin. I'm Jeff Johnson. You may have heard me once or twice or 6 times on the show. I get to be a part of the What the Heck Happened series. And when I'm not taking care of the A Film Bypodcast, I am an avid listener, a Patreon supporter, and a huge fan of the Surely You Can't Be Serious podcast. So, guys, first off, thank you for giving me this opportunity for this very special episode, because it's something I've been hoping we would get at some point, a little peek behind the curtain at the Surely You Can't Be Serious podcast. I kind of want to dig in, and I want to ask you some questions about how this show makes it to us week in and week out.
Absolutely, man. Thanks for doing it for us.
Yeah. We were talking, and Jason had told me that, I remember who it was that maybe you had talked to about people like a little behind the scenes peek of things. And I was like, well, yeah, that's what we do. Like, that's our whole shtick, is we give every behind the scenes story of interest that we can on all these albums. Why wouldn't we do it for our own podcast, I guess? So,
well, yeah, I love the behind the scenes featurettes, the audio commentaries, and you guys do such an amazing job giving us the details on some of our all-time favorite movies, our all-time favorite albums. And I thought, well, I want a behind-the-scenes featurette on the Surely You Can't Be Serious podcast. So I appreciate you guys taking the time to answer some questions that I feel, I know I'm curious about, and I think a lot of your listeners would also be curious about.
Jeff, any
and as you
time
can
with
see,
you is a treasure, so...
Dee, I'm loving that ball cap. As you can see, hey, I'm a supporter. I've got my Surely You Can't Be Serious tumbler. I've got my Surely You Can't Be Serious t-shirt, which just fits perfect. Thank you.
That sure looks great on you, man. My gosh,
you should be our model for the merch page, man.
I might have to. It
makes everybody look like Superman.
I told Jason when I pulled it up out of the mail, I said the blue, the red, like the color schemes, I just feel like the Man of Steel. It makes me believe I can fly. So thank you for that.
Jeff is now advertising the Super Kiss, ladies. It's available upon request.
Yeah. Let's get into this, guys. Now, for someone that hasn't listened to the Surely You Can't Be Serious podcast, how would you describe the show, or better yet, entice someone to become a new follower?
Well, we've always kind of said that our podcast is a podcast for the MTV generation. So there's a period of time from about 1981 until about the 2000 mark, probably, where we as a culture shared so many common experiences, movies, pop culture moments, albums, music videos, and we like to celebrate those moments. We celebrate that. We do it political free, and we do it with just a lot of fun. And that's kind of what I would describe us as. Yeah,
I mean, I think the best way to put it is we're like having a conversation with your good friends about the things that you love the most.
I like that you say that, Dee. The banter between you two, I think, is one of the highlights of this show. Where does that chemistry come from?
This goes back to kind of the origin of everything. When Jason and I first really started hanging out, we started running together, and I'd never run more than 3 miles in my life. And Jason got me out not only to run, but found a hill for us to run up. And I kept telling him I was not afraid to quit. And we just talked, it was just like guys talk, but like we're running on the road, and I got done with our distance, and I was like, that kind of went by because it wasn't boring and tedious. I was talking with a good guy about stuff that we both enjoyed. And then we just kept doing that over and over and over again. And longer distances didn't seem to matter because we always had something to talk about. The kind of the sparkle moment that we didn't realize was a sparkle moment was until like 10 years later, was that he would say something, I would say something about Thriller being the best album of all time. And he would say, well, everybody thinks that, but Bad was actually a better album. And I was be like, you're crazy, dude. And we had those similar type of things, for various things that would pop up. And then life goes on. 10 years later, I've moved out of the neighborhood, but we're still very good friends. And he called me up and said, well, I'm thinking about doing a podcast, which I had talked to him about this already because I had gotten a microphone thinking I'm going to do a podcast too, just trying to figure out what it was going to be about. And he said, do you think people would listen to a podcast? This is going to hit home for you, Jeff. Do you think people would listen to a podcast about Frasier? And I said, no.
I still think you're wrong about that, though. But keep going.
I don't know about that.
So I said, you know, if you did a podcast about Cheers, I mean, that's an iconic series of the 80s. That's something that I absolutely think, even though it's been, you know, not running for years and years, that people would totally tune in for that. And he said, well, I kind of think that Frasier is actually better than Cheers. And I was like, you're crazy. And then 10 minutes after we hung up the phone, I called him back and I said, why don't we do a podcast together where we do something like this, where we take something that you think is better than something that I think is obviously better, and we just make the podcast about that. We put two things against each other. And initially it was going to be like, I was going to defend my side the whole time and he was going to defend his side the whole time. But what it ended up being was just another one of those conversations like we had when we were running, where we would just kind of nerd out and go, hey, did you know about this? And the other guy would be like, no, but did you hear about this? And so we kind of made some fun out of trying to wow the other guy with this new piece of information that we had. And I think everybody else seemed to kind of enjoy that as well. Just like, hey, I've loved this whatever album or movie since I was a little kid, and I had no idea about these stories behind it. And it's been a joy to try to learn these things and then share that with everybody else.
By the way, before you start, Jeff, my good friend and yours too, Jeff Johnson, made a good point. He brought this up to me, 2-3 weeks ago. He said, I went back and I re-listened to your very first, like the trailer episode.
Oh yeah.
Like before we started the podcast, and we put out those previews. And he's like, you've done everything that you teased up in that trailer, except for one matchup.
Was it Frasier and
Frasier and Cheers is the one that we haven't done.
We have yet to pit a TV show against a TV show. And yeah, it's always just been out there, hovering out there like that. It's a hard one.
Movie versus movie, album versus album. But we've never had the TV show versus TV show. And this is the origin of the Surely You Can't Be Serious. I for one, would love to hear it because I'm a big Frasier fan, but I don't know that I'm going to be Team Frasier when it's all said and done. Dee has won me over many times.
Already?
Well,
this happens every time we do this.
Sometimes, though, I told you recently, you guys did last season, you had this amazing Breakfast Club versus St. Elmo's Fire episode. And Jason, I think I told you I was devastated because Dee won me over to his way of thinking. I went home, I watched St. Elmo's Fire, and I was like, oh my God, he's right. It just broke me, man. And so you never know where you're going to land. And I love that about what you guys do. I have to ask, though, how much of what we hear is planned versus spontaneous?
I will tell you that we deliberately do our best not to talk about what we're going to talk about before we talk about it. We try very hard, but we're also very good friends and we talk on the phone about every single day. And we kind of slip a few times. And occasionally Jason or I will say, hey, don't let me forget to talk about whatever, the girlfriend of whoever or whatever, but honestly, most of it is completely off the cuff. We've got stories that we want to tell. Like I've done my research. I've picked out the stories that I want to talk about. He's done the same thing, but we riff off of each other. I don't think it would be good to listen to if we had it scripted out.
I would say that we care a lot about our research. We do a lot of reading and studying, but our conversations are spontaneous.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
you mentioned the friendship a little bit here. Across social media, I'm talking YouTube and your Patreon page, you guys have built this amazing family culture with your listening audience, and many of them have connected with each other. How do you guys feel about that? Was that always the intention, or has it all been happenstance?
The Super Bowl just got over. I don't know when this episode will air or anything, but the Super Bowl just got over a couple days ago. And when it was done and they were interviewing the guys, I immediately thought about Bull Durham, and like every single guy is like, "Oh, these are my brothers, man. I couldn't have done without my team. We've overcome adversity and we've done all these things. And this coach has been the best leader I've ever had." And just, it's always about the other. And it's silly because, those guys have worked incredibly hard to get where they are, and they got to want to go, man, I really worked hard to get here. But nobody says that in this particular circumstance. I mean, yeah, we put in a lot of hard work, but man, I could not have possibly imagined when we started this thing, how amazing the people that would tune in, touch base with us, become our friends, become our close friends, that we would have this opportunity that we all get to go to a place together and eat and drink and laugh and play games with people from literally all over the country. And we've got people who contact us from all over the world. We've got a guy in Sweden who hits me up on Facebook routinely.
Jimmy, what's up, Jimmy?
What up, Jimmy? I mean, and he's showing me pictures of where he's living and this big animal crossing across the pond.
His place is awesome, by the way.
Oh, it's beautiful. It's incredible. And I'm just thinking, man, I just need to find an excuse to go out there and hang out with Jimmy for a little while. So this crazy, unexpected thing is what I would say is the best part about the podcast, is that we've met people from all over the world. We've gotten not just to meet them, but to get close with them. And they are the coolest, most wonderful people. Like, I'm sure everybody says it about their fans, but I mean, it's true. Our fans are the best effing fans out there.
Yeah, it's been really, you've been a part of all this stuff, and we've met people from all over the place and become friends with them. We've gotten to meet people that I looked up to. John Reed and Pat Canigallo and Jeff Mazuka and those guys over at the 30 something movie podcast. They helped us get started. We've actually haven't been in the room with Pat or Jeff yet, but we hung out with John Reed over the weekend, and you have too. So we got to meet the people who helped us, influenced us.
Yeah. And
then we've also kind of been a part of other people who we've kind of been a part of their origin story, who kind of helped them a little bit get their thing going. So,
hey, I don't mind saying it right here and now. I know we were a struggling show until you guys came into our life, and just the fact that you opened up and said, "Hey, let us help." And by the way, we're cool, you're cool. Let's make something of this. Yeah, you definitely. The Film Bypodcast, it was a lot to both of you for helping launch us and get us where we're at. So I can't thank you enough. And to Dee's point, it's always great when you get that kind of success, but at the same time, the true success is the friendships that have happened here. Like, we were kind of talking about hanging out, that, Shirley Fest it's the highlight of my year now. I look forward to it every September. It's like, I can't wait,
Pretty awesome.
So it's an awesome time.
By the way, back to what I originally said,
Uh-huh.
you can get 10 people from my hometown and they won't agree on politics, religion, schooling, how to raise your kids. But you can start a conversation on whether bad is better than thriller or thriller is better than bad. And people from around the world have opinions and are ready to talk about it. And I think it's one of the cool things, maybe the last cool thing of our generation, is this shared experience that we can all talk about, hang out, celebrate, and have fun with.
Now, Jason, you talked about the research a few minutes ago, and while you both seem to be subject matter experts on music and movies from the 80s and 90s, I imagine the research, there's a lot that goes into each episode. Can you walk us through your prep process?
Well, here's what I'll tell you.
It's very different for the both of us.
This is why we get along. This is why our show works, I think, is because he cares about things that are not as important to me, and I care about things that aren't as important to him. And when we put them together, it's kind of the chocolate and peanut butter thing. But yeah, there's a lot of reading. We spend hours getting ready for each episode.
Yeah. And I've changed a lot over the last 7 years. I spent a lot more time doing the research, but you just kind of hone your process a little bit, and you figure out what's working for you and what's not. And so, when we first started doing this, I would spend 10 hours of research per episode. And then I would go and I was editing all of the episodes to begin with, and I'd spend another 10 hours doing that. Now, fortunately, Jason has taken over the editing process, and, he's become incredibly good at that, and it's much faster for him than it was, I'm sure, when he first started doing it as well. But now I've got it down to maybe half that. I was talking to a class. We actually got to go talk to my son's high school class about podcasting, because they had a podcasting project, and that was one of the questions of how much time do you have to prepare for an hour-long episode. And I was like, well, I'm going to spend 4 hours at this point, 4 to 5 hours doing research. He's going to spend 4 to 5 hours doing editing. So for 1 hour-long episode, you're talking about a full work day, 8 to 10 hours.
Okay. Aside from the editing, has anything else kind of changed in your process, how you go about it, Jason?
Well, we finally found a home. Like, we record in my upstairs bonus room now. As you can see, we've got the Shirley wall behind us.
The wall is the Shirley wall is amazing. Love the Shirley wall.
But, when we started, I had young kids at home, and they were loud and rambunctious, and I had a barking dog and all that other stuff. And now, we used to move. We've done it at your office. We've done it at my church. We did it at the library, like the law library one time.
Yeah. Our very first episode, we recorded in a private room at the law school, because I was able to get that, because I knew that would be, because I had small kids too. I knew that would be a place that would be quiet.
It'd be quiet.
So we did a handful of shows at the law school. Then we found the church. Jason's church had a fantastic room. Then that went under construction, and so we had to find a new place. I had an office that we went to, recorded a whole bunch of episodes down there, and then things happened, and we ended up over here, and here's been great. We had no idea that the whole time this upstairs room would be the perfect sound booth for the podcast.
Yeah. Now, looking back over the last year, and I know you guys might have different opinions here, but looking back over the last year, which episode do you both feel best represents what the podcast has become? And more importantly, why?
We haven't actually talked about it to see if we agree, but I'll throw this out there to see if Jason agrees with me. For last season, I would say to a definitive pair of episodes for us and what we've become now it's going to be the Eagles' greatest hits versus Jimmy Buffett. I don't know if that's
amazing
what you thought of or not, but you have two absolute powerhouses. We had great stories on all of the guys involved in those things. And we also had a lot of fun with it. We dressed up in Hawaiian shirts and had mocktail margaritas while we talked about Jimmy Buffett and ate a cheeseburger, in paradise, because that's where it was. But and the Eagles one has been absolutely the biggest hit of last year. Like, as far as downloads go,
far and away
the best.
Yeah,
biggest hit.
So I agree. I think that's our best matchup of the year, and it was in the middle of the summer, and the Hawaiian shirts were fun, and we got the fancy drink cups, and we had the little umbrellas, and that was, to me, if you're going to listen to one set of episodes from last season, that's the one I would recommend to somebody.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe the one I'm most proud of, that is kind of maybe off the beaten track a little bit. I had one episode in particular that I kind of edited with my dad in mind.
Okay.
Because we covered Chicago. And Chicago has been around long enough that he was a fan, and they drifted into the MTV generation. And then I picked up on them on the 17th album, right? Chicago 17. Mm-hmm. And so when we did that, man, I needle dropped a whole bunch of early stuff because I knew he would be listening and I wanted him to enjoy it. And it was a fun episode. So, by the way,
that was a great episode. I love that one.
Thank you. There is one set of episodes, and I told Dee this maybe 6 months ago, that doesn't get a lot of downloads, and it wasn't from this season, but I think Dee and I were like on point. It was maybe our most fun conversation. We did Any Which Way You Can versus Every Which Way But Loose a couple of seasons ago.
Yes.
And we cracked up, we laughed, we had a ball doing that, and we talking about monkeys flipping off cops and
that one, I mean, to Jason's point, that was the one I had my dad in mind, because he loved Clint Eastwood, loved those movies. I can remember watching them all the time with him when I was a little kid. And I think, I mean, it's been a little while since I've looked at the downloads, but I think that those are actually kind of maybe an underground little cult thing, because they are getting quite a bit of traction. It's just they just kind of, it's not something that, is just out there, but they are still, people are tuning in. I don't know. I doubt there are a whole lot of other podcasts that have covered those movies. I mean, you
No,
get a
but
million that have covered Gremlins and Ghostbusters, but how many people have covered Any Which Way But Loose and Every Which Way You Can?
I remember.
Yes,
Yeah, you
pretty close.
got it right.
I got you.
Well, I remember Jason. I specifically remember us talking, and it was, hey, what do you got coming up? And you're like, well, I don't know if it's going to be a big hit, but Clint Eastwood, we're doing this double feature, and I was like, Any Which Way But Loose. Yeah, you're like, yeah, you've seen it. I was like, I've got the 2-pack. It's back here. You can see it behind me on this wall of DVDs and Blu-rays. I've got it. I was like, I can't wait. I'm ready for The Right Turn with Clyde. So, listeners, if you have not listened to that one, that is an absolute fun one, and you guys were in rare form. I think again, we talk about the chemistry between the two of you, and yeah, you were having a ton of fun on that. So. I love that episode.
Thank you.
And speaking of movies like that, you guys, you cover content that boasts a lot of 80s and 90s nostalgia. Why do you think movies and music of these two decades still connect so strongly with today's listeners?
I don't know really how to answer that question. The guys that are listening to podcasts grew up with those movies. That's kind of a key factor there, right? The Gen X guys who are in somewhere in between, 35 and 55. This is what we grew up with, right? Mm-hmm. And so there's that factor. There are still good movies that get made, but not nearly as many. I mean, it doesn't take a cinematic expert to go and look at one summer, pick any summer of the 1980s and compare it to a whole year of any year of the 21st century. And you're going to go, why are there so many great movies in one summer that are more than there are in the whole year for the 21st century? Mm-hmm. It's just, I mean, things changed in the studio world. Things changed in the production world. There was a transition that occurred at that time that was just a magic moment. And my kids will even say it. They're like, Dad, you were born in 1975. I was like, yeah. They're like, you got to be a kid during the 80s. And I was like, yeah. And they're like, you got to be a teenager during the 90s. And I was like, yes. Yeah. And they're like, and there wasn't any like social media or cameras or anything like that going on. And I was like, no. And they're like, and you got to kind of just run around and do whatever you wanted to do. And I was like, yeah, pretty much. And they're like, man, I wish I could have grown up then. I'm like, yeah, you do.
It's pretty awesome.
I mean, we didn't appreciate maybe how good it was at the time, but looking back, yeah, I wouldn't trade places with any of those folks.
It also goes back. We've talked about this before, but we all listened to a common radio station, if you will, yes. MTV, right? MTV was our radio station for kids across America. And it was that's how we learned our musical taste. And that's why we all share a common experience.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's true. And the movies that you saw were the movies that would fit into the theater. You didn't have hundreds and hundreds of things to choose from dozens and dozens of streaming services. You didn't have that option. Everybody, it's the commonality. That's right. Everybody was listening to the same stuff. Everybody was watching the same stuff. And most people were going to the same concerts or going to the same places to hang out. Everybody had a mall to go to. Everybody had a video arcade that they wanted to go hang out at. And just none of that exists like it did anymore.
Or a combination of like you watched Pour Some Sugar on Me on MTV before you jumped on your Huffy bike, rode it to the mall, played the arcade, watched Roadhouse, and then rode home. That's just what a summer day was,
as long as the porch light has not come on yet, you're free to roam and get into adventures, right?
That's right.
Now, I mean, this is like the making of the Surely You Can't Be Serious podcast. We're behind the scenes here, so I got to ask questions like this. Let's talk about off mic. Have there ever been moments off mic, be it during research or maybe you're recording or you're about to record, where either one of you like completely changed your opinion about a movie or an artist?
Yeah, I don't know if it was off mic, but for sure.
Yeah, no, it was on mic for me because I mean that's kind of the beauty of what we're doing because a lot of these albums, I would say probably more so for me. I've never listened to the whole album before. I wasn't a guy who went out and bought albums most of the time. I was listening to singles. I was listening to what was on the radio. I was listening to what was on MTV. And so, I mean, the thing that springs to mind for me, God bless Amanda Janik, she called us out to do The Cure. And for the last 30 years, had said, I freaking hate The Cure. I don't want to listen to any of their music. I can't stand it. But she was so incredibly persuasive in her plea for us to cover it that I was like, okay, well, let's do it. And I mean, I put the album on, listened to the first 30 seconds of the first song, I pushed pause, I called Jason. I'm like, holy cow, this is really good. Like, I was like, what the heck? Like, how come I haven't heard any of this stuff? And it goes back to that. All I'd heard were their popular songs, which I still don't care for that much, but you go to their album tracks and it's incredible. So I went from, I can't stand The Cure to I listen to them regularly now.
I mean, as a listener, I got to be honest. Like, one of the things that is magical for me, you guys will hint at like, hey, next week, this is what we're doing. And I'll be like, well, it's not even a fair fight. Like, I'm not gonna that band. I've never liked that band, or I've never liked that movie. But then you guys start talking. I'll point out last season you had the Alanis Morissette versus Jewel versus No Doubt, the 3-way matchup there, and I was like, yeah, No Doubt is amazing, and Alanis, that album's iconic, but Jewel doesn't have a chance. And then to listen to Dee just speak about her the songs and the music so passionately, I was like, hold on. And I hit pause because sometimes I'll do this. I imagine a lot of people do this with your show. I love what they're saying, but I got to hit pause because now I want to hear the song or I want to hear the album. And by gum, I turned it on. I was like, this is incredible music. I was there. I don't know why I was not paying attention to Jewel when this happened. So, you guys, you do a great job of moving the needle, as you say, Jason. Like, hey, if we can move the needle for someone, we've done our job. And I think you guys do that a lot. But I'm curious, when you take into consideration all the final judgments, all the spiking of the footballs, as it were, that you've delivered, have you ever looked back and said, I got that one wrong?
For me, it goes back to which matchup was the closest.
Okay.
Right? And so if it's 50-50 or 51-49, I could go either way. Then, so the one that comes to mind for me is the George Michael Faith versus NXS Kick album, where both of those were such powerhouses from 87. Both are packed with hits, both very impactful special albums to me. I loved both. It was about equal. And I think I could probably go either way. You were asking what album maybe moved the needle the most for me over the years was probably Synchronicity. When we started out with Synchronicity, I had not a lot of interest in it. It was kind of dry, dusty music to me.
I can remember having the conversation. I was sitting in a school gym watching my kid play basketball, and he brought up Journey, and I was like, oh, this is when the Police Synchronicity came out. And he's like, that's not even a fair competition. I was like, are you saying you like the Police better? And he's like, no, they're not. It's terrible. And I'm like, oh, we have to do this. We have to.
In fact, I'm kind of anxious to do Ghost in the Machine, to go through it, to make myself go through it. And also when we did Nickelback, I
love that.
Fell in love with Nickelback.
Yeah. I see the shirt.
Right.
Yes.
I am officially the Norman, Oklahoma president of the Nickelback fan club. After going through their hits, I mean, they're so freaking good.
Yeah.
So
I imagine Chad Kroger's appreciates that. Absolutely.
Chad, call in the podcast. I would gladly take your phone call.
Yes. I got to tell you, since we're talking about moving the needle, I just never imagined ever that I would say, yes, I am a proud listener and fan of Christopher Cross. Like, the fact that you guys did that to me, because you was like, listen, I'm not trying to tell you your business, but no one cares about this music. And Dee was like, excuse me. But then I listened to, I'm like, have I been a Christopher Cross fan my whole life and just not realized it? So I owe that to you guys. I listen to him because of this show, because of what you guys do.
Jeff is out of the Christopher closet.
Yes.
Yes.
Hey, we put that matchup out to our Patreon episode. So, hey, listen, if you're not a Patreon member, you ought to go to our Patreon page, join up on our Patreon, because you do have a say in future matchups.
Yeah.
When we put that out there, I thought for sure that would finish dead last, and it didn't.
Oh, no.
I voted in that. Like I said, I'm a Patreon subscriber, and I remember that I was like, what are they thinking? Like, no one wants to listen to that. And I had a couple other Patreon members in the family going, hey, hold on, guy. You don't know. And I was like, oh, I'm thinking, okay, well, they'll see. And guess what? I was the one that was wrong, because Christopher Cross is great. Like, I just never imagined I'd say that.
Yeah. So he's playing at the end of this month, and Jason's like, we should go see him. I'm like, all right, let's make it happen. And he's like, sold out.
Sold out.
Oh, see that you guys you went on a little adventure. What was it, last summer to see Creed?
Yeah.
And I love that episode because it was like a fun anecdote. Like, because you guys, it wasn't like you just got in the car and went to the concert. There was a little bit of a misadventure, getting there. And I don't want to spoil that. I laughed hysterically the whole time. I was like, I wish I was there with these guys at the pizza place and through the rain and, and in the show. Like, it's just, it's fun. I would love for you guys to do more concerts, go to more concerts or go to more movies, and then give us the Shirley reaction to how was the show. You guys were awesome in that episode.
Hey, I
gotta shout that one out too.
We've got plans maybe to go to Chicago this spring, summer.
Do some site visits.
Do the John Hughes tour.
John Hughes tour?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll tell you this before we get off that Creed concert, just deciding to do that was wonderful. It was just happenstance that we decided, because we decided to do that matchup before Creed got back together and started touring again. And the fact that happened, I was just like, well, good. This is going to do well for the show. And then the first show of that tour was the show we went to see.
Yeah, it was the kickoff.
And I was
wow.
I was fantastically entertained by Creed, but just that got us to see Three Doors Down, who opened for them. And I got to see Brad Arnold, and I feel like, even though I was a million miles away from him, got to know him on a personal level, because that was the way that he talked to the audience, was like he was your friend. And getting to experience that, not knowing what he was going through at the time, heard about what he was going through later on. And I was like, oh no, I genuinely hope that, because he was such a genuine and kind and faithful guy. I mean, inspirational.
Yeah.
And for him to have left, I mean, he's singing a better song right now, but I'm so glad that we just happened upon that kind of meeting.
Yeah.
Super special.
One of the most memorable moments in any concert I've ever been to was something he did during the concert when I saw Three Doors Down. I think my second time. Just I love that you guys got that opportunity. But let's talk.
Wait, hold on.
Okay.
I want to know if you think you got anything wrong, or what needle move for you.
Oh yeah, that's right, D. Anytime where anything you can look back on and go, maybe I got that.
Oh, where
one.
I got it wrong? No, I'm always right. Can't be right and then wrong later. That doesn't make any sense. Like, you're either right or you're not.
I think he likes Bad better than Thriller, personally.
But, after all these years, like the flip's not coming. Listen, I'm with D on this one. Thriller.
I mean, as far as, I will tell you this,
Thriller's the one.
I will tell you this, as far as matchups go, I can remember on those early episodes when we were going to compare Hysteria with Pyromania, that I was like, well, I don't care about Pyromania. It's obviously going to be Hysteria for me. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to listen to this. It was kind of like the concert. We did the concert like we were in high school. We went to had pizza, we went and played video games, and then we went to the show, man. And it was even though it was
awesome.
rain, it was awesome, right?
Yeah.
And so for when we did the Pyromania Hysteria, I was like, okay, I'm going to pretend like I just bought this album. I'll put my big headphones on over my ears, crank it up. It blew it out of the water. Pyromania blew Hysteria out of the water for me. And I was just like, wow. I had no idea. So that was something that I had made a decision beforehand, but my final judgment was still Pyromania. And I don't think I would change my mind on anything that I picked. That the great thing is this: we pick winners. I mean, there have been a couple of genuine landslides that we've had. I would say Groundhog Day versus Multiplicity, and that was just a matchup because of other factors, not because they're both winner movies. But in almost all circumstances, you're not going to go wrong picking either one of these things. I mean, I'll say that Jason's wrong when he picks one as better that I think is not, but I mean, we pick good movies, we pick good albums.
Dee blew the Rambo summer matchup, though. I'll tell you that.
I was shocked. I think that's the biggest shock I've ever had, and I was so excited. I was like, he's never seen First Blood or Rambo 2. He's gonna lose his mind, and you can't. Like, I love that you dropped in on the episode. You got the headband. I was like, oh, it's a slam dunk. He's a big Rambo fan, and I was shocked. D, I was absolutely shocked.
I was too.
You guys got to know, like, went shopping at Dollar General in Goldsby, Oklahoma last month, and this kid at the register who looked like he was maybe 19, maybe 20, is like, has anybody ever told you look like the Tulsa King guy? And I was like, only for about the last 42 years. So I was surprised that I was picking an Arnold movie over a Sly movie, but that was a no-brainer. That was an easy pick.
Yeah. Okay.
He
missed the moment.
Better.
Yeah. 10-year-old D, I think, has a different opinion if he sees it. Then I really do. But
no doubt,
10-year-old D doesn't know what the heck he's talking about. That's why.
As of this year, there are now over 4.5 million registered podcasts, with only an estimated 400,000 actively producing new content. Can you share something about what it takes to create and run a successful podcast that listeners would probably never guess unless they tried to do it themselves? Because everyone thinks they can do it until you try to do it. What's something that you guys can give us like, hey, this is what you better think about before you start?
So I just looked at listen notes earlier this week. We're in the top 1% of those 4.5 million podcasts, which means we're in the same category with 45,000 other podcasts, which doesn't sound so impressive. But the answer to your question, as far as I'm concerned, we got blessed. Okay. I mean, what I wanted to do before we even knew that this was going to be a thing was I was like, I want to do something with somebody that I genuinely enjoy being around and enjoy talking to. And the first guy that popped in my head was Jason Colvin. And so I was like, okay, how do I find something like, I was thinking job stuff, like some business enterprise, something. How do I do something with Jason Colvin that maybe is successful as a business? And that was the only factor. I just want to do something with Jason Colvin. That was it. And that's all that I can say we had going for us. Like, everything else is just blessed, just dumb luck, just sun shining on the dog's butt. It's just not anything that we necessarily did by design, but just, we like being around each other. I think of few people in the world that I'd rather be around than this guy. We love talking to each other. We've been doing it for 7 years on the air and like 17 years total. And I still ain't tired of it yet. So,
Thanks,
so there you go. Like, I mean, that's like, so if you want the magic formula, find somebody you love being around and talking to and do something with them, whether it's a podcast or a lemonade stand, it doesn't matter. If you're doing something with somebody that you truly love being around and love talking to, it'll be successful no matter how many people listen to it.
Right. First of all, thank you very much. That makes me feel very special. And I love hanging out with you. I mean, I love you. Love you, bro.
I love you, man.
But I do agree with you that is kind of our secret sauce. There are other movie experts out there that I could call and, somebody in another state and say, hey, you like movies, I like movies, let's do a podcast together. It's not going to be what we do, because we like hanging out. We like having fun. We like doing stuff. And this is stuff we're going to talk about anyway. So,
yeah. 17 years. I can't think of one angry word that I've said to this guy or that he said to me. And we obviously have been doing a lot of stuff together for a while.
That's special.
Yeah.
The Surely You Can't Be Serious podcast has celebrated some big milestones and substantial audience growth. Is there something you're particularly proud of?
The thing I'm most proud of is the community that we've been able to create. I mean, I think our show's good. I'm proud of that. I'm proud of what we do and what we put out. I'm proud of the work that we've put in, the hours that we've done. You know, our growth has been rewarding, but for me, it's the friends that we've made and the community that we've grown. So, and that was totally a bonus baby. We had no intention and it just happened.
I don't think anyone says, "Hey, we're gonna create this show because we want new friends. We want to build our friendships." Up. It's a happy return on the investment, I think.
And by the way, if you're listening to this and you're like, "Well, I've never heard from it," well, shoot me a text or send me a message.
Yeah,
find me on Facebook. Let's hook up. If you want to talk movies, let's do it.
I remember the very first, I don't remember if it was the first review that we got, but it was one of the very first reviews. And the review was, "I really appreciate the way that you guys do this because I have I think she was probably 13 or 14-year-old daughter at the time who I'd give her a ride to school every morning and we listen to your podcast and talk about stuff together. So I appreciate you keeping it clean, keeping it interesting, keeping it accessible by all ages." And I was kind of blown away by that because I've got a bunch of kids, he's got a bunch of kids, and that's me. I mean, if somebody had done that for me, had created something that I could share with my kids and talk with my kids about, I would be ecstatic about that. And so it was dumb luck again that we happened to find that thing, but that was James Buckley. And James Buckley is one of our closest friends now and has been a financial supporter and advertiser maven for the podcast. And and eventually we're going to get down there and see Hidden Tracks play. And he's been a host with us. I mean, and has helped my kid with a ticket in Louisiana. But having something that people can share with their family, with their kids, or even with their coworkers. And we're not the only thing that's said, but we spark a conversation that they will go on and have after the show's over. Shoot. Yeah. That's all I need.
I want to talk about the schedule, like how we come to the lineup, the matchups, assuming there is compromise when deciding which movies and music you're going to develop into episodes. Has there ever been an episode that gave you pause or on whether or not to cover it? Dee's smiling. It sounds like he's got something good.
I'm anxious to hear what this is.
Well, no, Jason called me like a month ago and was like,
you turd. Yeah.
He's like, "What do you think about Steve Winwood?" And I was like, "I hate him. I don't hate the man, but I hate his music. I mean, I just, no. Nope.
Hang on.
Don't want to do it.
Hang on. Hang on. He didn't even make it to hear the matchup that I was offering. Okay. So here's the thing. Sometimes you do stuff that you wouldn't normally do, and you come out on the other side and you're like, wow, that was great. Air Supply, Christopher Cross, Police, the list goes on. I just got to make sure that sometimes I got to drag and kicking and screaming, but this was the matchup I was going to propose against Richard Marx, which we've been looking for a good matchup for Richard Marx for a long time.
I have no problem with doing Richard Marx.
Right. We've talked about it. It's a perfect matchup. And anyway, I didn't even get,
How is it a perfect matchup? Like, it's not even, how are they even remotely related? Like, Steve Winwood started playing music and was in bands that were successful when he was a teenager and played in the 70s and is now like a middle-aged man. And freaking Richard Marx was background music for countless albums and then suddenly became famous for a minute.
Exactly. I rest my case. Thank you very much for.
It doesn't make sense. They're not related at all. The music's not the same. There's nothing.
It's pop rock stuff. I think it's a perfect matchup for Richard Marx, but that's okay. We'll keep looking. Actually,
listeners,
I told him
you
I
just
was
got
like-
a
I was
mini
like, if you
episode
wanna
there.
go do that- this is, I will say this. I was like, if you want to go do that with somebody else, I'm totally fine with that. But I can't listen to an entire album of Steve Wood. I don't like his voice. I don't want to listen to an entire album of his. I can't handle
I
it.
did not anticipate the Steve Winwood versus Richard Marx matchup inside this getting to know Shirley episode. So thank you. Like I think we've figured it out.
But I
Final
also-
judgment. You guys are split on this one.
Yeah, I was like, if you want to do this with somebody else, it's okay. I'm okay. And he was like, no, I'm not gonna do that.
No,
I was
you
like,
can't.
no, I'm not doing that.
And I was like, well, there may be something like maybe we're gonna do a Stevie Wonder episode, and you don't want to do it, and so I got to go do somebody else. And he was like, no. I was like, you're right. No, I would never do that. It's just not the same. The chemistry wouldn't be the same. The content would be the same. It'd be like, yeah, it'd be having a dirty, nasty affair, and I'd feel guilty forever.
Yeah, we don't want Coy and Vance. We want Bo and Luke. So you can't mix it up for us.
Maybe we do Steve Winwood versus Stevie Wonder. Maybe that's it, right? And then we can just see who taps out first.
Oh, that's it right there. How much abuse can you take? I'm excited, guys. The new season is right around the corner. I'm going to ask, and I know you guys you might be a little tight-lipped here about what's coming, but what excites you the most this year? What can longtime listeners expect more of?
I don't know what the answer is for Jason. I got to guess, but for me, I'm excited. And this is interesting because it's not 80s, it's 70s, but I am excited to talk about Fleetwood Mac rumors versus Eagles Hotel California. I think that's going to be amazing. Amazing. I'm so excited to go back.
How do you decide? I don't know. That's too close to call.
I don't know the answer at this point. I can say that I grew up with the Eagles and not as much with Fleetwood Mac, but in the last couple of decades, I've really grown to love Fleetwood Mac. So listening to them side by side, I don't know how it's going to turn out. I have a feeling that I'm going to lean towards the Eagles, but I couldn't tell you for sure.
Yeah, to me, that's my number one. Like, that's the tentpole episode. Of course, I'm excited about all of our episodes. I think our 1984 versus 5150 episode, Van Halen versus Van Hagar, I can't wait for that. But we're going to dance around in 1981. We're going to do Men at Work, which I've already looked into. There's an incredible story there.
Oh, yeah.
We got Men at Work versus Hall & Oates versus the J. Gauze Band. That's going to be a fun 1981.
Nice matchup.
Yeah.
But also,
go ahead.
We're doing Pretty in Pink versus Some Kind of Wonderful. And we've got Melissa Mingle and Jill McCormick coming in from out of town. Like, Melissa's coming in from Colorado Springs. She's flying in. Jill's driving over from Tulsa. And we're going to have a great conversation with them. So that's going to be a lot of fun too. So,
yeah. One of the things, again, talking about the chemistry, talking about what you guys do every week. I can't thank you enough for giving us the opportunity to kind of get to know you guys. Like and that's something, but before we met in person, before I flew out to, halfway across the country to meet up with you guys, it's like, these guys are my buddies. I know these guys. I grew up with these guys, even though I didn't grow up with these guys. And one of the things I love that you guys do, there'll be episodes where you guys come in and you're just like, hey, I was driving in here. I think I changed my mind, talking about like, well, is your final judgment set like from the beginning, or is it a game time? You guys have done some game time decisions, I feel like, where even in the middle of the show, you're like, I think I'm switching here. This is where I'm at. And I think that's part of the fun of the show is like, you get to know you guys, and I've done it plenty of times. So I'm like, oh, I got this. I know what you're picking. This is my prediction on your final judgment. And you guys have been great. Where you're like, well, you'll find out in a couple weeks. We'll see.
I like, because
sometimes I'm right, and sometimes I'm really wrong. Like Dee and St. Elmo's Fire.
That's what I
could not have been further from the mark on that one.
He called me like a week before. He's like, I'm predicting Dee goes hard in on St. Elmo's Fire. I'm like,
and he's like, really? And I'm like, no. He's, the law school, college years. Dee is going to connect with these guys, and he shooting from the hip. It was minutes into the episode. He lets it be known. I was just like, whoa, I missed that one. Big, So
Grumpy Dee is the best Dee, right?
Yeah, Grumpy D's the best D. Well, gentlemen, as we wrap up, I'd like you each to answer one last question, without giving any explanation for your answer. Okay. And D, we'll start with you.
Okay.
If you could choose one movie or music act to cover, knowing that Jason can't say no, what would it be?
First of all, I'm not a big no sayer. Like, I don't say no. If you bring it to me, I'm like, okay, let's do this.
All right, but just no explanations. Just this is what we're doing. What is it, D?
The Never-Ending Story.
Oh,
Really?
I can't imagine he would say no to that. But Jason, same question. No explanation.
Wait, hang on. Versus what?
That's a good question.
Dark Crystal?
Yeah, I was going to say it could be Dark Crystal. It could also be Labyrinth.
Roll?
Kroll, I feel like is Beastmaster is the only matchup for Kroll.
Ooh.
Mhm.
So what'd you say? Dark Crystal, Labyrinth?
Yeah, one of those would be the matchup for the Never-Ending Story, I think.
Or a three-way.
Yeah.
Yeah, through the three-way fight, you know?
Yeah. But
All right.
yeah, because I don't think that he's a big fan of the Never-Ending Story, but I really want to cover that movie.
That's an amazing movie. I
guess
can't
it gave me an
imagine. Wolfgang
explanation,
Peterson,
you told me not
Jason.
to, but
You got to say yes to the Never-Ending Story. All right. So, but Jason, same question now. No explanations. D can't say no. What's the movie or the music matchup that you would love to do?
See, this is tricky because there are episodes that we haven't done that I really want to do, but I know that he's already on board with. Or do I pull out the trump card and make him do something that I know he doesn't want to do?
Oh no, he said if.
He
didn't say this was going to
So
happen.
the one that
Not
I'm
gonna
gonna make
happen.
D do for sure. So like one that has been burning in my back pocket for a long time is the Scorpions. But we've talked many times about how that it will be a super interesting episode and that he would be on board with doing that. But I think the one that I'm going to pull out that maybe he hasn't heard me say is I'd love to cover, I think it's their debut album, Third Eye Blind.
Okay.
So
Good album too. All right.
that album meant a lot to me in the late 90s. So, and he's the 90s guy, but that album I'm a big fan of. So,
All right. Well,
yeah, I mean,
I'm going to do this too. I'm going
but yeah,
to do this too. I'm going to shoot my shot here. I'm going to give
right.
my answer, even though the question wasn't to me.
oh, wait.
And
Before you say that, we
Yeah.
are doing Showgirls versus Striptease this summer with you.
I am excited.
So that's already locked up, man.
What the heck happened? New series, new season. And hey, I am locked and loaded. I am ready to talk about Showgirls with you guys and Striptease for that matter.
I can't wait, man.
Yeah. But, I have to give this one to D, like the inspiration, because he's having a conversation at the, what I like to call the Shirley Manor, where we go to Shirley Fest. And he comes up with this matchup, and I'm like, is he out of his mind? And I'm not going to share the details because he blew my mind when he started talking about it. So D, I'm going to remind you, I think me and every other Shirley You Can't Be Serious fan that was in that house that weekend, we are waiting for the Cloak and Dagger versus Fight Club matchup. And I won't say anything else, but the 10 minutes you went live with that, I was, please give me the whole episode. I'm ready for it. So
That'll be a good one. That's
what I got for you guys. Guys, listen, this has been a blast. I really appreciate you kind of opening up the doors and letting us see how this amazing show gets made and what goes into it. And, obviously a lot of love, a lot of passion goes into this. And, I hope we're just getting started. I know that, season 7 right around the corner. I hope we're talking during season 17, season 27. As a friend, as a listener, as a fellow podcaster, thank you for what you guys do.
Jeff, thanks for your time, man. Appreciate you. And I'll go ahead and say it. I'll go ahead and tease it up. I'm going to be interviewing you with basically the same questions for your show.
Yeah, this was kind of a fun thing. Like, we were talking one day and it's like, do you ever get people emailing you, asking you stuff like you're like, we never talk about that, or maybe we should do something like, let's open the hood up and, tinker around under, I think it's a cool idea. So, I'm excited to, I'm curious, and I'm excited to see what kind of questions you have for me and the A Film By podcast. I look forward to it.
I'm going to say one more thing. I just want to say this. If you are out there and you're listening to us and you want to start your own podcast and you've got questions or you've got interests, you are more than welcome to reach out to either one of us. I'm sure, Jeff, you'd love to help people.
Absolutely. Please.
So
yeah.
if you got something you've got cooking and you want to talk to somebody about it, reach out to us. We'd love to hear from you.
Yeah. I mean, to give a little more of the history, that's exactly how Jeff got to know us. He sent us an email and he was like, "Hey, I like what you guys are doing. Would you be cool with calling me?" And I was at a soccer game and I looked and I was like, "I got time." Hit the number and we started talking, and Jeff was my friend in the first 30 seconds. I knew that this was the guy that I was going to keep talking to for a long time after this. So yeah, we love talking.
That's a big day for me, D. I again, can't thank you enough for that.
Just nice to make new friends, man.
To quote Pat Ganagallo, a stranger is just a friend you haven't met yet.
Love that.
Yeah.
All right. And lastly, guys, the next time we hear you guys, what's the matchup?
Okay, Jeff, next week we are kicking off season 7. We're going track by track through REO Speedwagon's High Infidelity album with our good friend Doug Gray.
I just bought that LP, by the way. Found it at Guest Records the other
day.
Did you? Yeah.
Nice. And we're matching that up with the Mighty Rush Moving Pictures. And we're covering that with Brad Moore and Tim Epp from Canada. We have a Canadian on with us to talk about
Rush fan.
You're going authentic.
Yes.
Listeners, thank you for checking out this very special episode. Go online, patreon.com/Shirley. You can't be serious.
Shirley Podcast.
Shirley Podcast. Thank you, D. Shirley Podcast. The bonus content that these guys make available is awesome. You see me if you're watching this on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. I'm wearing the merchandise. It is one of my new favorite T-shirts. I'm drinking out of this amazing tumbler. This is my go-to thing when I'm poolside. I love this guy. But yeah, check him out. Get the merch because it's good stuff.
You bring that to the pool, you're gonna meet chicks.
Yes, chick magnet right here. Yeah, it's got my name on it. Like, I'm not messing around, lady. Kind of a big deal. I know Jason and Dee. Thanks, guys.
See you, man. Thank you.
Jeff. Thank you, guys.
Except the fact that Dee doesn't like Steve Winwood, I think it was all pretty spot on.
The only way he could have made it worse was to offer to cover Billy Ocean.
Oh man.